Hey y'all, this is Jillian from MaxineMakesMagic. Welcome back to my channel. You voted, and for this week's Disney Menu Ranking Challenge, you wanted to learn more about Trader Sam's at Disney's Polynesian Village Resort. If you're new here, hi. This series is all about looking at popular Disney dining locations from all across the Walt Disney World Resort and determining if they are a good fit for you and your travel party, because nobody likes going on vacation and spending money on food that they do not like. And this week, things are just a little bit different because we're transitioning from looking at, your traditional quick service dining locations and moving over to something a little bit more Disney adults. We are looking at bars/lounges. And for this week's bar and lounge menu ranking challenge, we are looking at Trader Sam's at Disney's Polynesian Village Resort. And this is one of the most popular, if not the most popular lounges on the Walt Disney World Resort property. So I'm super stoked that y'all voted for it. I'm going to give you the ins and outs based on 5 different key points of criteria as to why this could or could not be a good fit for you and your travel party, and we'll determine if it passes my Disney menu ranking challenge. The 5 key criteria we are looking at this week is Trader Sam's Grotto easy to access? Does it have exceptional location theming? Does it have a variety of beverages and bites? Does it have a cost that falls in the range of what Disney promotes on their website? And does it have cool drink theming? I think all these 5 factors come together to make a really great experience. So we're gonna put Trader Sam's Grotto to the test today. But before we can do that, I wanna give you guys a little bit of a history on Trader Sam's Grotto, so you have all of the knowledge going into today's 5-step ranking process. So with that being said, Trader Sam's Grotto is a tiki bar. It is so fitting for Disney's Polynesian Village Resort, and that is one of the 3 main resorts that are on Bay Lake and have monorail access at the Walt Disney World Resort. So with that being said, this location opened on April 27th, 2015, so it's almost been open for 10 years, which is super, super exciting. If you're into the Jungle Cruise, if you're aware of the Jungle Cruise at Disney's Magic Kingdom, then you have heard of Trader Sam before. Trader Sam is a famous adventurer in Disney lore, and he is trying his hand at making exotic libations or beverages, adult beverages, if you will. Trader Sam's actually a part of the Society of Explorers and Adventurers. And that is a fictional organization that was developed by Disney Imagineering. It has a huge depth of Disney lore that ties back into this overall Society of Explorers and Adventurers story. I think it's one of the most interesting things across the parks, especially because it ties all the parks together internationally. There's elements of this society in every single Disney park. So if you want me to go into that further and kind of dive into the Society of Explorers and Adventurers, let me know in the comments. I'd love to do a deep dive there. But I digress. The society features scientists, explorers, researchers, and adventurers, and Trader Sam is one of those individuals. And the location is really designed to reflect that and show really particular details that tie back to the SEA. So just a little bit of fun background there on the society. And last but not least, it's known for having, the lounge itself is known for having a really, really fun atmosphere. Some of the different beverages that you order on the menu cause different hijinks to happen within the lounge. So it is a community experience because depending on what the folks around you are drinking will impact the story of the lounge. It is super immersive. You don't honestly probably even feel like you're on a Disney vacation when you are here. You have been transported to the tropics. And I have not actually been to this dining location yet, or this lounge yet. Surprisingly enough, in all the years that I've been to Disney, this is one of the things I've not been able to do yet. And it is the one thing my parents have done and friends have done that they highly recommend and want to go back to. So with a little bit of history, we can now dive into our 5 key criteria and find out if Trader Sam's is worth your hard-earned time and money today. Starting with our first point on the list, we're looking to determine whether or not Trader Sam's Grotto is easy to access. Simple as that. Can you get to it easily on property? Are there reservations available? And is it open to adults and kids alike? This particular location is at Disney's Polynesian Village Resort. And like any other Disney hotel, if you do not have a dining reservation, you cannot park at the hotel. Trader Sam's Grotto doesn't have reservations, which is absolutely wild given how popular the dining location is. So people tend to wait hours just to get into this lounge because they do a walk-up wait list. You can put your name on the wait list when they open at 3 p.m., but you could be waiting for hours and hours on end. So how do you get there is probably the question a lot of you are asking. For most folks, you're probably gonna have to go to Disney Springs, park there, which it is free, and then take a bus over to Polynesian Village Resort to go to the dining location. Another way might be if you are at another resort, you want to take the monorail over. If you're on the monorail loop, you could also, if you're leaving Magic Kingdom, take the monorail loop. You could park at the Transportation and Ticket Center, which would cost you money. So Disney Springs is going to be a better option, and you can take the monorail or a bus over. There are so many different ways that you can get to the resort. The most cost-effective one is parking at Disney Springs or leaving from your hotel to go to Disney Springs and then go to Polynesian Village Resort. You cannot just simply park at the hotel. So not necessarily easy to get to on property unless you're in the vicinity of Bay Lake and are anticipating that you're going to be jumping on the monorail to get over to the hotel. As I said before, there's no reservations here, so that's really unfortunate and something that it's probably the biggest gripe that people have about this place is it's really hard to get into, but that's why it's so popular. And last but certainly not least, the one positive thing about this category is that Trader Sam's welcomes families, so kids and adults alike. One thing I will say is if you have anyone in your travel party that struggles with sensory concerns, this might not be the best dining location or lounge for you because there is that chance that depending on what other patrons are purchasing, different things can happen in the room. And those might be a little bit overwhelming, like I said, for those that have sensory concerns. It's not inherently scary for children whatsoever. Most kids would have a very good time here. They'd enjoy seeing all the different hijinks that go on throughout the lounge. But something to keep in mind, like any other popular lounge on property, once it rolls over to 8 p.m., it must be 21 years of age or older in order to get into the bar and lounge. With all of this in mind, surprisingly, this location is a fail for easy to access. There's just one too many factors that make this a lot more, I guess, exclusive and difficult to get to. So unfortunately, for easy to access, this is a fail. Moving on to number 2, we're going to talk about location theming, and the criteria for this is Trader Sam's Grotto a standout location outside of food or beverages in this case? Does it have a good atmosphere, and is it pictured backdrop worthy, my friends? It is one of the most authentically themed Disney lounges on the entire property. It is so unique. The atmosphere, just like I said earlier, transports you to the Caribbean, I think is the best way that I can describe it. And the closest vibe you get to Orlando, Florida, and that type of tropical environment is going to be down in the Caribbean. It's 100% picture backdrop worthy. Now it's a little bit dark in there, so I would say it's not like you're going to be going in there and snapping 1,000 pictures and doing like a full-blown, like, I guess, photo shoot if you're into food. There's Pascal per normal. He's making his typical debut in video, so I'm just gonna let him pop over here. If you hear him purring or see his tail flopping, it's because I'm petting him, but he just had to interrupt. Like I was saying, it isn't necessarily a location that you're going to be able to go to and snap like 1,000 pictures on flash because it's dark in there. That would be not so great for the other guests that are there, but you certainly can take food photography and beverage photography if that is something that you are interested in. So the lounge is covered in so many different themed elements. It goes back to the comment I made earlier about the Society of Adventurers and Explorers. So bear that in mind. There's going to be a lot of fun Disney themed elements for you to kind of peruse and look at as you're enjoying the atmosphere. One of the things I love, like I said earlier, and we'll dive into maybe a couple examples, not giving them all away, but some examples of the different things that can happen in the lounge based off what you purchase. But there's windows that line this lounge, and they're not real windows, and there's a reason for that, because based on what you order, there's different things that can happen outside in the windows, which makes the experience so cool. And everyone's a part of the story because whatever you purchase impacts the story of the lounge and what is going on within the lounge. And it's not necessarily a large space. There's only so many tables, so it is more of an intimate experience and kind of brings the Disney community together, which is one of the things I absolutely love about the theming here. And looming over the bar, and this is one of my favorite elements of this entire lounge, is the tiki goddess Aoa. She is the goddess of disaster, and if you are a Disney historian like myself, you will remember her from the Enchanted Tiki Room under new management. It wasn't the original Enchanted Tiki Room, it was the version with Iago in it. So if you remember that, if you're a 90s, 2000s Disney kid and you were growing up going to Disney in that era, you'll remember Aoa. She has found new residents at Trader Sam's Grotto and does have an impact on the story here. You'll have to go for yourself and find out. But with everything in mind, this location is so beautifully themed, and Pascal agrees that it's so beautifully themed. And for that reason alone, it is a big old pass for location theming. Moving on to category number 3, we are going to talk about beverage and bite variety. This is looking at, is there a variety of light bites? Because we are at a lounge, there are not going to be full service menu items here. We're also looking at, is there a plant-based option? Is there a vegetarian option? Variety for folks. And overall, are there a variety of signature cocktails? We can kind of start talking about the food today before we talk about the beveraginos. There are 6 on the menu, which is a pretty decent amount for a lounge. It's pretty standard practice that Disney has a smaller variety of appetizers, but still a good amount to pass around the table. You're not going to get a full meal here, and you shouldn't expect that. But a couple of the things that I definitely want to call out is that there's a Polynesian flair and flavor profile to all the elements and all of the items on the menu. We're at Polynesian Village Resort. That comes with the territory. Looking at those 6 items we're looking at, and I apologize if I am butchering any of the pronunciation here, but Kahuna Tuna Sushi Roll, Kalua Pork Tacos, Thai Chicken Flatbread, Chicken or Tofu Lettuce Cups, Veggie Rainbow Rolls, and Pan-Fried Dumplings. So again, 6 different options there. And one of the things I learned from Vegan Disney World, which if you are a vegan, I am not, but I know Vegan Disney World's content because they are one of the most reliable sources for vegan meals and vegan options across the Disney property. So make sure to check them out. I'll include the link to their blog below. But they actually have reported that the rainbow rolls can be requested as vegan. So for my vegan friends, that's a really great option. I think in addition to that, you could also get the veggie rainbow roll. Another option is the tofu lettuce cups if you are vegetarian. There isn't a note on here of whether or not that option is vegan or not, so I'm not going to claim that, but vegetarian option, vegan option, and then of course too, we've got a variety of carnivore based options here, all with that Polynesian flair. Wouldn't necessarily say that these light bites are a great option for children, especially if they're picky eaters, but again, I don't feel like you're necessarily going here for a meal. You might be going here for a fun drink, whether it's a cocktail or a mocktail for our little kiddos, or if you're an adult and you're like me and you love some mocktails after the pool, after the park, whatever the reason may be. Not necessarily a great place for food, but a really fun atmosphere if you're looking for a beverage. So with that being said, we're gonna look at drinks here as well. I'm gonna get too into depth regarding the specialty cocktails, but what I do want to just mention here when it comes to variety is there's different options when it comes to the liquor choices you have within the different cocktails. You're gonna have your rum, you're gonna have your tequila here, looking as well. You're gonna have vodkas on the menu. What else do we have? I have the menu pulled up in front of me, so I'll put it on the screen for y'all too to follow along. Really, those are like the four main liquors you're gonna look at here. But in addition to that, there are also hard ciders, there is beers, and there's actually Hawaiian-based beers, which I think is a really cool offering here. If you know of Kona Big Wave, that's an option, or Kona Longboard. Those are Kona brewing beers. Also have some sparkling white and red wines on the menu as well. So there is some variety there. And there are 3 different non-alcoholic options as well. 2 are more meant for the kiddos and 1 is meant for adults as a 0 proof version. However, I'm sure you can ask any of the cast members to make a mocktail version of an item on the menu. Probably not the ones that are a little bit higher priced, like our 27 up and up priced cocktails, but if they have the resources, they might be able to make you a cocktail in a mocktail version. So keep that in mind. But overall, this is an easy pass in my opinion when it comes to beverages and bite variety. You've got a good amount of beverages here to choose from. You've got a few snacky options just to kind of hold you over. Maybe if you're before a dinner reservation or you already had dinner and you just want a late night snack. Simple as that. So with that being said, beverage and bite variety is a pass for Trader Sam's Grotto. Talking about category number 4, we are going to look at cost, which is nobody's favorite, but we should talk about it because it's one of the most important things you got to keep in mind when you're on a Walt Disney World location. We know it's not cheap to book, but how does Trader Sam's Grotto fare up to the traditional cost range that Disney has on their website for bars and lounges? So that range is $34 or less. On average, a guest will be spending around $34 or less. So with that being said, I totaled all of the items on the menu: food, non-alcoholic beverages, alcoholic beverages. Wine specifically was done by the glass, not by the bottle. And surprisingly, it came out to $14.66. And as you guys know, I don't traditionally put beverages on my menu ranking challenges unless they're like a really cool specialty drink. So with a menu like this, we have to look at the cost of beverages because cocktails are just known to be a little more pricey. That's fine. $14.66 is really great considering $34 or less is really the threshold that Disney's thinking you're possibly going to spend if you're at this dining location. And truly, you know, cocktails are not cheap. We know this to be true. And if you look at this menu, there are several of them that are pricier than others. And overall, I'm very surprised and really impressed by that price point. I think that's totally fair. You know, it's fair to say that there are some elements or items on the menu that are a little bit cheaper that are probably skewing this just a touch. I'm gonna look now to give some examples. I mean, it's, you know, your Bud Light, yeah, at $9, that's going to bring the cost down. Your Blue Moon, really your beers and your ciders and your non-alcoholic beverages and your 2 kids beverages are the items that are bringing this cost down. But really overall, most of these menu items are anywhere from like $12 to $23. Really $12 to $20, which is awesome for a Disney dining location. So we don't need to spend more time on this. If you are looking to get a beverage and you don't want to spend an arm and a leg, there are options here for you. So with that being said, cost is a pass for Trader Sam's. Last but certainly not least, we're going to talk about drink theming, which is obviously a new category for this challenge today. So one thing I will say is that you're going to have familiar beach drinks at this dining location. They're going to have a little bit of a beachy Disney flair. You're going to have your Mai Tais, your rum punches, your dark and stormies, your traditional tiki drinks. But with this location, you're going to have really cool fancy drinks as well that cause different things to happen in the dining location. I'm going to share one of them now. I will not share the other three because I don't want to ruin that for anybody. So if you are someone who does not like spoilers, maybe skip ahead a little bit because we're going to talk about one of the drinks right now. And that beverage, if you order the Uh-Oh-a beverage on the menu, if you remember from a little bit earlier in the video, Uh-Oh-a is a Disney character. So that checks off our character inspired drinks. And she's from the Enchanted Tiki Room. Enchanted Tiki Room. Cannot talk today. So she's definitely a Disney character. And if you order her drink, the barkeeps will start chanting her name. They will run through the bar and chant, Uh-Oh-a, Uh-Oh-a, so on and so forth. And her eyes will light up. She kind of looms up over the lounge. And from up on her perch, she will say, when you mess with Polynesia, the tiki gods will squeeze ya. So it's just a fun way for the entire lounge to kind of erupt and get wild and crazy when these really cool beverages are ordered. So that's just a little bit of an insight as to how drink theming plays a huge role in how this lounge comes to life. The last beverage that I want to touch on today on the cocktail menu is the spiky pineapple. This is Cruisin' Mango Rum blended with pineapple Dole Whip. So if you are a pineapple Dole Whip fan like myself, this is a good one for you to try. So I wanted to give a little highlight there. And then for our 0 proof options, the first mocktail and the only mocktail that I'm seeing on Disney's website, obviously not there in person, sadly, but it is a Liar's Spiced Cane Spirit. I'm assuming that, I mean, it's under 0 proof, so we're trusting that it's in the right category. But 0 proof spirit, orange, pineapple, passion fruit, guava, hibiscus, ginger beer, and soda water. For our kikis or our kiddos, you've got the Skipper Sipper, which is tropical juices, orange agave nectar, falernum, I don't know what that is, mint, and a fresh lime juice topped with a soda water. And then you also have your Schweitzer Falls, which is tropical juices, and Sam's Gorilla Grog topped with Sprite. I have no idea what that means. Obviously, I butchered its pronunciation, but I'm sure it's delicious. So overall, when we are taking a look at drink theming, this is what this dining location is all about. The signature fantastical drinks are the main star here and what you are going to Trader Sam's Grotto for. So with that being said, it is a big fat pass for our Disney menu ranking challenge. It goes without saying that Trader Sam's passed the Disney menu ranking challenge. Congrats, Trader Sam's. I knew you could do it. I'm really not surprised by this one. I know there have been some that I've researched that kind of creep up on me and surprise me a little bit, but this is not one of those locations. It is beloved in the Disney community. And if you are someone who's going for your first Walt Disney World vacation or wanting to try something new, I would highly recommend checking this out. I am so hoping on my next trip, whatever that may be, that I get to go as well and can find my way to beat that long wait time and get in and give Trader Sam's a little bit of love because it so certainly deserves it. If you liked today's video, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss a video. I am always adding polls over on my Instagram, Threads, and right here on YouTube so you can vote and tell me which dining locations you want me to review next. So make sure you are subscribed and following along on my socials so you can be a part of the conversation. If you want to check out more of my menu ranking challenges, go ahead and check out the playlist. I've got a whole library of these guys stocked up and ready to go. As always, this is Jillian from Maxine Makes Magic, and I hope you have a magical day. Bye, guys.